Hello, everybody, again. I hope you are well and happy wherever you are. Um, my name is Georgia Byng, and I am here to read you another chapter from Molly Moon's incredible book of Hypnotism, this book that I wrote. We've got to chapter 26. Today's a very windy day. So you might hear bashing and gusts as they slam against window panes in front of me. If you don't, then don't worry. But that's what the noise will be if you hear it. And also here today, oh yes, I've got a turtle for you to look at because it's National Turtle Day. So that's what that turtle is there for. Chapter 26. A flash of lightning lit up Petula's cell. She hated thunderstorms, and on her own she was even more terrified of them. She shivered in the corner of the damp basement room where Knockman had imprisoned her. After the kidnap, Petula had been driven away from the theatre and had spent the night in Knockman's white van with Knockman stretched out flat in the back. Through the bars of her cage, Petula had studied the man's walrusy face and his scorpion necklace, and as he snored, she'd wondered why this strange-smelling person had stolen her. She'd managed to claw at an old half-eaten bologna sandwich, pulling it into her cage. Then, with a full stomach, she'd fallen asleep. The next day, the man had driven to the empty, chilly industrial building that they were in now. He'd parked the van inside the building alongside a big lorry, and then, with gloved hands, he'd carried Petula's cage down to the basement room. He'd undone the latch of the cage, roughly taken off her collar, and left her there. He'd gone away. Luckily, a dripping pipe in the room meant that Petula had something to drink, but she had nothing to eat. Petula circled round and round on an old, broken sofa that smelled of mould, trying to find a comfortable position. She wished that she had a stone to suck. She wished the lightning would stop. The same sheet of lightning lit up the pavement as Knockman scurried through the rain. He was hurrying through dark downtown streets, some distance away from Central Park, where he'd just met Molly Moon in the bandstand. His feet were sodden from stepping in puddles, and his hat was soaking, but inside he felt elated. He'd blackmailed Molly Moon beautifully, perfectly. There was no way she could refuse his demands. Within a few days, he'd be richer than any criminal in the history of crime. Ooh, how he loved that pug. Every so often, Knockman stopped in a doorway to catch his breath and to listen, to check that Molly hadn't brought the cops with her. Each time, all he could hear was the heavy fall of rain. So on he went, dashing down alleys and side streets, making his way back to his warehouse. 15 minutes later he arrived, his hand shaking as he fumbled with the keys. Inside he slumped on a chair, his heart still pounding from the anxiety of the run. After a few minutes he got up and poured himself a big whiskey, and 5 whiskies later he was asleep. Knockman slept restlessly in the chair and woke up at 6 the next morning with a dry mouth and a terrible headache from the whiskey. As he reached for a bottle of water and looked about the dark warehouse, he realised that no one had come after him, and this made him feel a lot better. At 8 he was in a phone box, dialing Molly's number. To be safe, he was wearing his earphone contraption and was holding the microphone to the telephone. Molly sat up in bed to answer the phone. "Good morning, Molly," said Knockman. And congratulations for not doing anything stupid. Your dog is still fine. Molly nodded frantically to Rocky, who was on the sofa, to indicate that it was Notman on the phone. Rocky sat up quickly. I assume you agree to do the job, he said. Yes, said Molly, her voice sounding like an alien through the voice scrambling machine to Notman. Good. Have you got a pen? Yes. Then I have the address of the warehouse, where you are to bring the bank truck once it is full. You'll find the place open. Molly wrote down the address of the warehouse. It was on the west side of Manhattan, on the 52nd Street, by the docks, where there were lots of derelict buildings. So I bring the bank truck to the warehouse, driven by a hypnotized security guard, said Molly, and then... Dear me, Molly, said Notman impatiently. It's all in the instructions I gave you. I do hope you are up to this job. Yes, said Molly. Sorry, it's just I'm a bit nervous. You better not be so nervous that you fluff it, Molly, because I won't look so kindly on your dog if you mess this up. No, I'm so sorry, apologized Molly. I remember everything. The security guard loads the jewels from the bank truck into your lorry. I send the security guard back to the bank, mind blanked, and then you come to fetch the lorry, and after you've driven to a different place far enough away, you will ring me and you're going to tell me how to get Petula. That is correct. And Molly, I won't be calling until I'm absolutely satisfied that you have delivered all the goods, every last emerald. And when do you want me to do this? Molly asked. Today. This morning. This morning? Yes, said Notman. He decided that it was best to push Molly before she changed her mind. If he gave her time, she might track him down or work out some way to foil him. Besides, he was very impatient and he wanted to feel those rubies pouring between his fingers. These are your final instructions. I want the people in the bank to be in a trance until 2:30, he said. I will pick my lorry up from the warehouse on 52nd Street before they even report that their bank has been robbed, because I will collect the goods at 1:45. 1:45 today? Oh, but... okay, Molly agreed. Notman put down the phone and took off his anti-hypnotism device. Then he left the phone box and went back to his chilly warehouse. He tossed his coat into the back of the van, patted his brown lorry, which was soon going to be stuffed with precious loot, and he went down the stairs to get Petula. Petula's room smelled horrid. Poor Petula had peed on the floor, which was against all her training. When Notman entered, she tried to put up a fight, but he was wearing gloves again, so her bite didn't hurt him. Besides, she was feeling weak. Notman grabbed her by the scruff of her neck and he pushed her into the cage. Petula felt dejected and very, very hungry. With the cage in the van, Notman then drove across Manhattan Island and over a bridge to Brooklyn to a small, leafy industrial estate, where he owned another large warehouse. Over the years, Notman's crooked business had brought him a certain amount of wealth, and so he owned 2 storage facilities. They were very useful for business. This second warehouse was where Notman kept all his stolen property. It was crammed to the ceiling with boxes and bags full of stolen things, ranging from glass goblets to cutlery to lawnmowers to garden gnomes, anything that Notman had stolen and planned to sell on. He drove inside the warehouse, parked the van, got out, and happily kicked one of the smiling garden gnomes. Operation Hypnobank was going to plan. Notman had nearly frisbeed himself into the Super League of Crime. He was nearly there. No more small-time crime for him now. He'd be rolling in money soon. The next step was to put this stupid dog somewhere and be ready to go back to Manhattan to collect his booty. Notman was tense with excitement. He had a quick drink of whiskey to steady his nerves. A room service table stood in Molly's room, with the leftovers of 2 half-eaten breakfasts. Molly looked at Rocky and pulled at her hair. Today? I can't believe he wants us to do it today. It's 8:15 now and he wants the jewels and stuff in his first warehouse repacked into his lorry by 1:45. That gives us 5.5 hours, Rocky calculated, to rob the bank, to pack up the loot in the bank truck, to drive it to his warehouse, and then to transfer it to his lorry. But we haven't memorised the plans. We'll take them with us. I mean, is it possible, Rocky? We'll just have to try. More than try, said Molly. We've got to do it 100% right. True, said Rocky. They both sat quietly for a moment, summing up the monstrousness of the task. Then Molly said, What are we waiting for? Let's get it over with. It was time to move. And that is the chapter 26, read. I hope you enjoyed that. And wherever you are, have a really good rest of your day. And if you're going to be doing any hypnotising, have a good time with it. Bye.